Bob's Breakfast.
This is Levinia from Hatfield.
Hello, Lavinia.
Graham,
Yes.
I must tell you, tomorrow I'll be 90.
Will you
All the
really?
years I was phoning you and got through 2 or 3 times.
Yes.
Lavinia from Hatfield.
Yes.
And I just wanted you to know that tomorrow, Graham, please wish me happy birthday, because I've reached 90 tomorrow.
Lavinia, I'm not sure I'll remember. Can you give me a call back tomorrow?
I'll try if I can get through to you, that's the thing.
Well, that is the thing. It is a bit tricky. So 90 years old. Goodness
Yes,
me.
I can't believe it, though, Graham.
I can't believe it
I
either.
just feel like a teenager, just to say. But of all the lovely things that you used to say to me, and shall I try then tomorrow and phone you?
You should try, but just in case, I should probably do you a birthday song this morning.
Oh.
So what can you tell me about yourself, Lavinia? What should be in your song?
I love so many, because I was a ballroom dancer with my husband. He died 4 years ago, but Wally.
Ah.
Yeah, so we were ballroom dancers.
Well, maybe I could put Wally in there. Let me see what I can do. Let me see if...
Wally and Lavinia, but I'm Lavinia.
Let me see if I can do something... Tomorrow's Lavinia's birthday.
All right, then.
She's sounding jolly. Tomorrow's Lavinia's birthday. She used to dance around with Wally.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Tomorrow's Lavinia's birthday. Happy birthday to you. She'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 tomorrow!
Oh, lovely. Thank you, Graham.
Yes, we're going to a party. Yes, we're going to a party. Yes, we're going to a party. Yeah.
Great grandchildren and 11 grandchildren. Terrific. And having a party on in Hatfield around at my son.
We'll all be around there, Lavinia.
On Saturday morning.
Thank you very much.
Oh, it's my day.
All right, give me a call tomorrow.
Recognise your voice all the time.
Thank you very much. Cheers, bye.
Bye.
Bob's Breakfast.
Let's get the latest news. Chris Hubbard.
There's several places you shouldn't put your hands, one of which is down the loo, because firefighters...
I'm glad you said that, because I was a little bit worried, but okay, thank you.
Firefighters have had to free a woman.
There are 2 reasons why you shouldn't put your hand down the loo.
Okay, go on.
Number 1 and number 2.
They just write themselves,
They
don't
just
they?
do. Okay, right. So a lady put her hand down the carsey. Why?
Well, she decided that she wanted to unblock her toilet. The toilet had got blocked.
With her hand?
Yeah, I know.
You don't know what you're going to grab.
Well, quite. Especially she'd just moved house.
Right.
So, deciding...
She knew there was a danger, but she put her hand down there anyway, undeterred.
Because she didn't have a plunger.
Okay.
She made the decision to carry this out. However, she did run into problems when her watch got stuck in the toilet basin. So she'd still got her watch on. Surely, if you were doing this, you'd remove any sort of jewellery.
And surely don't you wear your watch on your non-dominant hand? So if you're right-handed, you wear your watch on your left hand for that very reason, because you're more likely to put your right hand in places that could damage your watch than your left hand.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So, bearing in mind she'd still got her watch on, she went down straight into the toilet, stuck her hand around the U-bend. The watch got stuck on this, leaving it absolutely stuck. So her hand was in there, kind of just around the corner.
Right.
She got no choice but to call firefighters. Fortunately, she got her phone handy, because that could have been a long wait before maybe somebody needed to use the loo and came in for that matter.
So she managed to phone with the other hand.
Yeah.
And phoned the fire brigade.
Fire brigade had to remove the toilet, carry the toilet.
She didn't call a plumber?
No, she called the fire brigade to try and get her out.
Oh, of course, because firemen are more exciting to have in your bathroom than plumbers, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe so.
Okay.
And they don't charge you either.
Ah, yes.
That's probably something to do with it. But basically, they had to uncouple the toilet from all the plumbing, carry the toilet downstairs into her back garden. She was still attached at this point.
Yeah.
And then she eventually managed to free her by smashing the toilet. So that's the way they dealt with it. I mean, the neighbours were treated to quite a show as fire crews worked to free her from this.
Yes.
And eventually they smashed it in bits and she was freed at the time. She's been uninjured by the ordeal, fortunately.
Right.
And she's put a video of it online as well.
Has she?
Yeah.
She's a bit of an attention seeker.
Yeah,
she wants a fire brigade in her bathroom and she went, I don't know.
No, it's been viewed thousands of times now. She doesn't look comfortable. Let's put it that way.
It reminds me of that old joke about the lady who sits on the toilet. I can't remember how the joke. Somehow, is it super glue on the toilet seat or something? And she sits and she gets stuck on the toilet seat.
Right.
So she shouts for her husband, and he comes and he checks it out, and he brings a set of spanners, and he undoes the toilet seat, and he takes her to the doctor's with the toilet seat still stuck on there. And he says to the doctor, "Have you ever seen anything like that, doctor, before?" And he said, "Oh, yes, but never framed." Morning, Adam.
Graham?
Yes?
How comes there's always a single shoe on the side of a road? Where's the other shoe gone?
Another one of the great mysteries of the world. Why is there always a single shoe? Did somebody lose a shoe? Or did there used to be two shoes there and somebody found a shoe? Maybe there were two shoes there and a one-legged person came along and went, "Brilliant, a new shoe."
Turn your knob to Bob.
So the Queen is going to Whipsnade Zoo today.
She is. She's off to the zoo.
A baby elephant that's been named after her.
Yes, that's right. She's going to meet this elephant.
That sounds kind of apt. Because, you know, they do have a lot in common.
Go on.
Well, the elephant is part of a captive breeding program.
Yes.
And they both live in an artificial environment where tourists wave at them and take their picture.
My name is Pat Davis.
How are you, Pat?
I'm fine. Did you get my message? Hello?
How did you send the message to me?
By telephone.
Oh, I see. It's an answer phone message, is it?
No, I sent a message. I rang your number.
Yes, this number?
And your number, yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I rang you on 01438 422 106.
That's my number.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
I have protested several times about the weather maps on television.
Right, okay.
I live in Hertford. They never show Hertford.
They don't?
They show Ware.
Yes.
They show Luton.
Yes.
They sometimes show Harlow.
Yes.
But they never show Hertford.
Let me just check. Hold on a second. Let me just check our weather map here.
Thank you.
You're absolutely right. Hertford is missing from our map. Yes.
Well, I'm here.
Yes, are you?
I'm certainly not missing.
No, you're not. You're definitely not missing. What was your name again?
Well, it was Mrs. Pat Davies.
Mrs. Pat Davies. Mrs. Pat Davies.
Davies.
Whereabouts are you in Hertford?
Nearly in the middle.
Okay, I'm writing you in now. Mrs. Pat Davies, right in the middle of where Hertford should be on our weather map.
Would you like my telephone number?
No, thank you. I don't think we should put that on there. No.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want my address? Do you want my postcode?
No, I'm fine. I think just having your name there where Hertford should be should do the trick.
Well, everybody knows me in Hertford.
Yes, do they?
I was born here in 1940.
Yes.
And only missed being killed because Hitler couldn't aim straight.
Right. All right. Well, thank you, Mrs. Pat.
Mrs. Pat Davies.
That's
please.
right, Mrs. Pat Davies.
Actually an M.A.
What's that?
Master of Arts.
Are you really? What arts are you master of?
Conservation policy.
I didn't realise that was an art. How about that?
I
would have thought sculpture would have been more your speed.
Well,
but there you go.
No. I'm an art, an artist, so to speak.
Yes.
I'm conservation policy. I graduated from Middlesex Poly, but it's now called Middlesex University.
That's fantastic. Mrs. Pat Davis, it's been a pleasure talking to you, but I have to conserve some time right now, so I have to go. All right,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This is Bob. Bob.
Chris brought us an amazing story from Worcester Cathedral of a bell ringer who got his heel caught in the rope and the rope winched him up into the bell tower. He had to get the fire brigade to lower him down 80 feet. Bonzi's on the phone. Morning, Bonzi.
Yeah, just listening to about the old bell ringer here. But fairness happens quite a lot.
Oh, really?
All the time.
All the chime! All the chime!
Hello.
Goodness me. Let's ring him back. Bonzi, see if I can get him back on the phone.
Hello?
Bonzi, I heard that one fella got caught in the rope and it fired him up so far into the bell tower that he actually smacked into the bell with the front of his head.
Let me guess.
Go on then, finish it.
Go on. He ended up in hospital, and the police and everything came as well, and they all checked him out, and his face don't ring a bell. Old ones are the best, aren't they?
Yeah, but do you know what else happened?
Go on.
Do you know what else happened? His twin brother, his identical twin brother, he took over from him while he was sick, but he wasn't very experienced at it. Same thing happened to him, and he died.
Go on.
And he ended up falling to the bottom of the bell tower, and one bloke looks at him and goes, "That's the second time that's happened." And he says, "Oh, isn't it the same fella?" He says, "No, but he's a dead ringer for the other."
Get off.
This is Bob.
The British media are royal sycophants. The royals can do no wrong. They can get away with anything. The best example of this is how they report the news of the racist, sexist Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, the Queen's husband. He announced he's retiring from public engagements this week. That's great news and should be welcomed by anyone who hates bigots. If any other public figure said the things that he's come out with over the years, the media would be outraged. But because it's Prince Philip, they describe what he says as quips and gaffes. Here's just a few of the things Prince Philip has said in public. Here's what he said in 1986 to a group of British students during a royal visit to China. He said, "If you stay here much longer, you'll all be slitty-eyed." In 1993, he said to a Brit he met in Hungary, "You can't have been here that long. You haven't got a pot belly." In 1994, he said to a wealthy islander in the Cayman Islands, "Aren't most of you descended from pirates?" In 1995, the Duke of Edinburgh asked a Scottish driving instructor, "How do you keep the natives off the booze long enough to pass the test?" In 1999, talking to a group of young deaf people in Cardiff who were standing near a steel band, he said, "Deaf? If you're near there, no wonder you're deaf." In 1999, he was on a tour of a factory in Scotland, pointed to an old-fashioned fuse box and said, "It looks as if it was put in by an Indian." In 2001, when a 13-year-old called Andrew Adams told him he wanted to go into space, Prince Philip said, "You're too fat to be an astronaut." In 2002, talking to an Aborigine performer in Australia, he said to him, "Still throwing spears?" 2010, He's talking to the Scottish Conservative leader, Annabel Goldie. He pointed to some tartan and asked her, "Do you have a pair of knickers made out of this?" 2012. He's on a Jubilee visit to Bromley in Kent. He said to a 25-year-old council worker, Hannah Jackson, "I would get arrested if I unzipped that dress." 2013. And I think for me, this is the worst one of all. He spoke to Malala Yousafzai. She survived an assassination attempt by the Taliban and now campaigns for the rights of girls to go to school without fear. She's addressed the United Nations. She's won the Nobel Peace Prize. Prince Philip said to her, "Children go to school because their parents don't want them at home." Are these really quips and gaffes? The British media go to town on Donald Trump. The Daily Telegraph even had a thing called the Donald Trump Sexism Tracker. But Prince Philip, oh, he's a royal. He can do and say whatever he likes. Well, he might be a prince, and he might be a duke, but he's also a knob.
Millions of British parents embarrass their kids on a daily basis. The reason why? It's due to a lack of fashion sense. I know my dad used to have this green T-shirt that we really despised. Me and my sister absolutely hated it.
For me, it was, my old man used to have these, they weren't quite khaki, but they looked military.
Yeah.
Shorts. And in the summer, he'd work in the garden with his shirt off. Now, he was not the kind of bloke who should have taken his shirt off. I mean,
you generally find that, though, don't you?
He had boobs and a beer gut.
What a sight.
He looked like Benny Hill. Imagine topless Benny Hill in It Ain't Half Hot Mum shorts. That's what he looked like. Now, that was fine when he was in the back garden because he was hidden.
Yeah.
And one day he said, "Come and help me put this stuff in the car and I'm going to take it to the tip."
Yeah.
All right, so I helped him put some stuff in the car. He says, "You'll have to come with me to help me get it out." Oh, no. And I went out in the car.
With topless dad.
Yeah, driving. Oh,
the thing is, it would have looked like he wasn't wearing anything.
It did,
as he drove down
yeah.
the road.
It looked like something very sinister. I was just hoping, none of my mates are in any of the other cars. And no, when we get to the tip, there's none of my mates see me with this.
Bob's Breakfast.
Is our Prime Minister a recluse?
Well, she did turn up yesterday to this tower block fire in West London.
She turned up, yes.
For half an hour, I think.
For half an hour. She visited the emergency services people, which is good that she visited them. But she didn't do any press.
No.
In fact, the only pictures I've seen of her visit looked like they were taken on a long lens from a helicopter.
Well, yes, they were all aerial photos from some distance away.
Yeah. Does she not realise this is a democracy and she was elected by the people to represent them and serve them? She's not a monarch. What is going on with this? She didn't meet any of the survivors, the victims. Meanwhile, leader of the opposition, Jeremy Corbyn, whether you agree with his politics or not, but at least he was there. He was at a church. He was hugging people.
Yeah.
Would have been nice if she'd done that.
There was that human connection there. You've got to admit it.
Yeah. And then you've got the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. He's mingling with the people, talking to the press. And he's answering an awkward question from a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
A fair question. And I think he handled it reasonably well, too.
Yeah, yeah.
He's amongst it. He's in there.
He's there every day.
Where's she? Now, you know, on the day of the fire broke out at like 1 a.m. We heard about it about 4 a.m. It wasn't until about 6 o'clock that night we heard from her. And that was from inside Downing Street. That tower block can't be like 2 miles from Downing Street. And we heard from her maybe a bit more than 2 miles, but it's in the city of London, for goodness sake. She was inside Downing Street talking to one journalist, all very controlled. It wasn't a press conference. She doesn't seem to take questions from the press. Is she scared of the press? She goes out. Well, on that day, the day of the fire, looked like she didn't leave the house. And then yesterday, she goes to meet the firefighters, no press, not meeting any of the survivors or victims, then goes back home and then does a control piece from inside the safety of Downing Street.
You kind of get the impression that one of her advisors said, "Oh, come on, you're going to have to go out there. You're going to have to meet the people and see the devastation that's been caused."
Yeah.
So she did that.
Days late. Yeah. And she meets the people from the emergency services. I mean, that's the right thing to do, but if you should meet everybody involved here.
Yeah.
And maybe take some questions from some journalists instead of them having to be hundreds of feet away in a helicopter on a long lens. That seems to be the closest she got to the press. Until one gets invited inside Downing Street in a controlled interview, in a controlled environment in her home. I don't know what's going on here. Theresa May has become the Julian Assange of Downing Street.
It's Bob.
As far as acting goes, David Beckham is a great footballer. He makes a cameo appearance in Guy Ritchie's new film, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. Beckham's performance has been described as cringeworthy. In the film, he plays a disgruntled Cockney knight called Trigger. I'm not making this up. And in his scene, he offers a few words of advice as Arthur attempts to pull the legendary sword from the stone. Arthur's line is, "Where do you want me?" Beckham replies with this.
Bouncing on my knee. Where do you think I want ya? Hands on the hilt, stupid.
I don't think Posh Spice needs to worry about what she'll wear at the Oscars. It's an important scene, that. And David speaks the final words before King Arthur pulls the sword out of the stone. Unfortunately, David Beckham is acted off the screen by the stone.
This is Bob.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jane in Langley. How are you?
Hang on. Let me go and get a better signal.
A better signal?
It's really bizarre, Graham.
Mm.
I'm down in Hertfordshire.
Yes.
I'm round the corner.
Yes.
And my signal's rubbish. And when I'm up in Yorkshire, it's perfect.
Are you talking about the Bob signal or your phone signal?
My phone signal.
Your phone signal, right? Yeah, Langley's a bit weird. I listen to Bob mostly on my my app. I've got a new car and I can't work out the DAB radio, so I put Bob on the app on my phone, listen through the 3G, and have the phone connected to the car through the Bluetooth. It's bizarre. I'm going the long way around, but I drive home through Langley, and just the other side of Langley, it cuts out. And it doesn't come back till a bit further on, before St Hippolyt's, but it's a bit further on. Yeah, so.
Well, it is. Langley's a little pocket of another era almost.
The weird thing is, though, there's nothing much around there. You think if they're going to make if there's going to be a black spot in the mobile phone signal, it would be where there's nobody living. But the black spot is actually where the houses are at Langley. It's mad.
Yeah. I went for a walk yesterday in the woods. Which they are so beautiful around here.
Are the bluebells out? Or have you missed them?
Oh, I took loads of pictures. The bluebells it's knee deep in carpets of bluebells.
Great, yeah.
Stunning.
Yeah.
And I looked at my phone because I thought, I wanted to ring my dear other half back in Yorkshire and say the bluebells down here are beautiful. Mm-hmm. I had full 4G signal.
Yeah, in the middle of a bluebell wood. Yeah. When you're in an area where people actually live, no signal.
Yeah, that's about that. Yeah.
It's just brilliant.
I've been listening to your game.
Yes, do you like them? Which game do you like? Do you like Duke or Donald or Duke or Bible, Torah, Quran?
I like Donald or Duke.
Yes.
Because I think you've got masses of raw material for that one. Well, you have with the other, but it's a bit obscure if something like that. And also there are with the other one,
Yes.
then some of them cross over because some of them are in the Torah River Quran and the Bible.
Oh, are they? I did not know that.
There are the odd bits.
Well, right, okay, all right. So you're leaning towards Donald or Duke. That is the game.
Definitely.
That is the game where I tell you something that somebody said, and you have to tell me whether it was said by Donald Trump or it was said by the Duke of Edinburgh. Who asked a 24-year-old sea cadet? Who asked them, "Do you work in a strip club?" Was that Donald Trump or the Duke of Edinburgh? Do you work in a strip club? Asked to a 24-year-old sea cadet. Was that Donald or Duke?
Well, it's a bit seedy, and Donald Trump's a bit seedy.
Yes.
So, looking at his family, some of them anyway. So we'll go. I'm going to buck the trend here, and I'm going to put my neck out on a limb.
Yes.
Or my head, or whichever bit.
Yes.
I'm going to go Donald.
You're saying Donald said that. It's the wrong answer. The correct answer is the Duke of Edinburgh. He said this is. It was in 2010. He was talking to Elizabeth Rendell, a 24-year-old Barnstable sea cadet. He said, "Do you work in a strip club?"
Priceless. He is absolutely.
Join us again next time for my new experimental game, Donald or Duke, on Bob FM.
Here we are. Bob's Breakfast.
Cyclists should be banned from the roads. It's about the most dangerous thing you can do on the road, but strangely, concessive governments and health organisations are trying to encourage people to do this dangerous thing on the road. We need to ban cyclists. It's a stupid thing to do on the roads. Ian's on the phone. Morning, Ian.
The whole cycling thing.
Yeah, they're a nightmare.
You've set back the safety of cyclists on the road, who aren't all dressed as sportsmen, as you well know. There's plenty of people that use bikes to get to work, and plenty of other things. You've just set back the whole cycling safety course by about 20 years, mate.
I think what you'll find is that I'm advocating cycling safety, because cycling is the most dangerous thing you can do on the road, and I'm trying to save lives. If you're advocating cycling, then you're the one that's asking people to be unsafe. It's an unsafe thing to do on the road.
How are people supposed to get to work?
They can get to work in lots of ways as long as they don't cycle. There's lots of ways for people to get to work. Cycling isn't the only way.
You're putting people in danger.
No, I'm not. You're putting people in danger by asking them to do a dangerous thing on the road, and I'm saying they should stop them.
I'm not asking anybody to do anything.
Do you think people should be allowed to cycle a push bike on a road where there's a speed limit of 60 miles an hour? Well, why? It's hundreds of people are killed every year by doing this. They should stop doing it.
Who are they killed by, Graham? By drivers.
Yeah, but the drivers, for years, cyclists have been saying it's the driver's fault. And how's that working out for them? It hasn't fixed it. Drivers are always going to hit cyclists because it's a dangerous thing to do on the road.
Exit the roundabout. Drivers are always going to hit cyclists because cyclists aren't respected in this country.
But they've been asking for respect for 50 years and it hasn't worked. So why, if you keep doing something that you always do, you'll keep getting something that you always get. It's time to give up and say cycling is dangerous.
Someone on a low income who has to travel to get to work, how are they supposed to get to work?
Well, then that's a problem that they have to solve, but they shouldn't be risking their life on a push bike to get to work. That's crazy. Are you saying that that we should only... that poor people are being killed? What are you trying to do? Get rid of poor people by having them killed on the road?
I'm not talking to you anymore. You're an idiot.
What they should do is build cycle tracks off the roads so that people can ride their bikes safely. Riding a bike on the road is too dangerous. They need to stop it.
Cyclists are people. They're husbands, fathers, brothers.
Yes, and I want to save their lives, and you won't let me do that, and it will save their lives.
I'm not stopping you from saving anybody's life, Graham. You're putting people in danger the way you're going about it. I don't disagree with all of what you're saying, but the way you're going about it has set back cycle safety about 20 years in this area.
Cycling safety has not worked. The current system, how's that worked out for you? Hasn't worked. Time to ban it. Oh, he's hung up on me.
Turn your knob to Bob. Because if you don't, I'll cry.
Well, Brexit's already going badly for Britain, isn't it?
Well, I know talk started yesterday. David Davis was over there, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Brexit secretary.
He's backpedalling already.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, first day, the Brexit secretary, David Davis, conceded to EU demands agreeing to a two-phase negotiation. Now, what this means is the divorce terms will be set first before the discussions on trade relations. Mr. Davis, I don't know if you remember, he's the one that said that this will be the row of the summer. He's conceded on day one. There's going to be no row. He must have decided that, well, the easiest way to avoid a row is to just give in. To be a doormat. We've got 2 years of negotiations ahead.
We have, yeah.
On day one, we're already on the ropes. Not looking good. I don't even know why we're calling these things talks. David Davis is making out we're actually going to negotiate here. This is the bloke that conceded on day one to a thing he said was going to be the row of the summer. It gives you some idea of what kind of negotiation position we're in. The person who gets the best deal in a negotiation is the one who can walk away from the deal. We can't walk away from the deal. We've had a referendum. We're leaving. So we're going to have to take whatever deal we're given. We're going to have to do, and we're going to have to pay whatever the EU say we're going to have to do or pay to get out. And that's it. And 27 countries. Even if part of the deal looks okay, only one country has to veto it and the deal's off.
Yeah, well, the EU essentially don't want you to leave. Once you're within that little kind of group of countries,
yeah,
they don't want you out, which is why they put all these obstacles.
That's why it's so hard to get out. That's why it's so hard to cancel Netflix. It's just the same situation. Hey, if you're looking for the perfect metaphor, though, you don't have to look much further than these ceremonial gifts that were exchanged at the beginning of the talks.
Okay.
David Davis gave Michel Barnier, who represents the EU, a book about mountaineering. And Mr. Barnier presented Mr. Davis with a walking stick.
Right.
So what does that mean? Does Britain's gift show that we have a mountain to climb here? And what about the EU's gift to Britain? A walking stick. Does that show that we're hobbling into these talks? Or were they just showing us the big stick they're going to hit us with? Are the Russians ready to invade us? There was a Russian submarine in the English Channel on the weekend. The Royal Navy ship HMS Somerset spotted it off the east coast of the UK on Friday morning and followed it through the Strait of Dover. Last month, Somerset's sister ship HMS Sutherland escorted 2 Russian warships that sailed close to UK waters. And the Russians keep doing this. RAF jets keep getting scrambled to keep an eye on Russian military planes that fly close to the UK. In February, Typhoons were deployed to monitor 2 nuclear-capable Tupolev Tu-160 Blackjack bombers. A lot of people are worried about what the Russians are up to. Well, if they're trying to mount a sneak attack, they're rubbish at it. Their planes always fly past in daylight. And that submarine was spotted on the surface. All Vladimir Putin is doing is showing off. Those planes and this submarine wanted to be seen. They were posing. That wasn't a periscope. That was a middle finger. Now, there's an important person having an important birthday today, and they said they were actually going to call me to remind me that I needed to at least acknowledge the fact, but they haven't called yet, so I'm going to call them. Lavinia.
Oh, Graham. I didn't phone you, did I? I thought
You were going to phone me to remind me. Luckily,
it was so gorgeous yesterday. I thought it was enough for one day.
well, I remembered that it is your birthday today. You're turning 90 today.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, and what are you going to be doing today? Bit of bungee jumping?
I doubt it.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Be some downhill skiing, bit of bobsled?
Some of the family are coming in this morning.
Are they? That'd be nice. Yeah.
Cake waiting for everybody.
Yeah.
As well as some other things.
Uh-huh.
And but yes, I still can't believe I'm 90 years old.
Did you demand a recount?
Yeah.
And you got a big do on Saturday as well, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Round in Dover's Way. My son just lives 2 minutes around the corner there.
Yeah. Oh, well, that sounds good.
So that would be lovely, and all the family will be joining me there.
All right. Well, I better sing you happy birthday, hadn't I?
Oh, it'll be lovely, wouldn't it?
Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Levinia. Happy birthday to you.
Graham, it's so lovely of you to do that for me, I must say.
You have the best day, okay? Have the best day. And remind everybody, if you're in the shops or anything today and someone looks miserable, can you just say to them, hey, it's my birthday today, I'm 90. Bit of respect, please.
Well, I try and tell everybody.
Okay, you do that. Good for you.
All right, thank you then, Graham.
Cheers, Lavinia.
Thank you for the call.
See ya.
So
Bye.
gorgeous, thanks.
See
Love
ya, bye.
to you.
This
Bye, dear.
is
Bye.
Bob.
Hey, good morning to Sue in Panshanger. Listen, I've just spoken to your hubby. You've no idea how sorry he is. He's really messed up, and he would love to talk to you. He wants you back. He really means it. And if you can just pick up the phone and have a chat with him. The man is full of regret. He loves you to bits. Give him a call, Sue. Good morning, Sue.
Hello. You just did an announcement for Sue in Panshanger.
Yeah, it was for you. Steve just called. Steve has just called me, and he really is upset. He knows he's made a huge mistake. He loves you more than life itself, and he wants you to forgive him and take him back.
I'll call him. Thank you.
You'll call him. Give him a call, Sue.
Thank you.
No worries at all. Thank you. Good luck.
Bye.
Bye.
This is Bob.
There's a warning: a social media craze for clean eating could leave a generation with fragile bones. The National Osteoporosis Society says a fifth of 18 to 35-year-olds have cut or significantly reduced dairy in their diet, which is an important source of calcium.
So now we're not eating enough. Most days we're eating too much.
Yeah.
Now we're not eating enough. There's a worrying trend that young people are not eating dairy products.
Mm-hmm.
Which is it?
Well, if you listen to some scientists, we're eating too much and it's too fatty for us.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, people who are wanting this clean living diet.
It's funny out, though, when it's one of these things where we're not eating enough. Like, we've got to have, is it like 12 portions of fruit now? I can't remember how many. It went up from 5 a day.
It keeps going up and down.
Right. So when we're not eating enough, so we're not eating enough fruit, or we're not eating enough dairy, or we're not eating enough omega, or whatever the hell it is, it's our fault. It's always our fault. But when we're eating too much, it's never our fault. It's because fast food packaging doesn't have the ingredients on it. It's because there are junk food adverts on the telly. What are the other things we've had because we're fat?
The supermarkets are putting the unhealthy food in the wrong place near the checkout.
It's the supermarket's 2-for-1 deals.
Yes, that's right.
My favourite was, this was a few weeks back, it's because your doctor's fat. Do you remember that one?
I don't remember that
They
one.
said that GPs should need to be encouraged to lose weight.
Yes, that's right.
Because they're not a good example to their patients.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons why you're fat is because your doctor's fat. It's weird. Every time we're eating too much, it's never our fault. It's something else. But when we're not eating enough of something, it's all our fault. What's going on? Oh, cyclists. These people who have a mental illness. Cyclists who do this dangerous thing on our roads and then blame everybody else on the roads but them. They're the only people that do something dangerous. It's like a skydiver blaming the plane. A report by Sky News this morning. It's going to cost lives, this. It says that people who cycle to work reduce the risk of cancer and heart disease by almost a half. Sky News have regurgitated figures from a study that says people who cycle for their commute to work have a 46% lower risk of cardiovascular disease and a 45% lower risk of developing cancer than people who drive to work or take public transport. Now, I'm sure these figures are correct, but Sky hasn't mentioned that the kind of people who usually cycle to work are fitness freaks. They've got healthy lifestyles and diets as well. It's not just the cycling. You can't take a fat smoker, stick them on a push bike and expect them to suddenly get magically healthy. They haven't balanced the figures either, with the number of cyclists killed on our roads every year. Department of Transport figures show that cyclists are more than 17 times more likely to be killed on the road than motorists. For every 1 billion miles travelled on UK roads, 35 cyclists are killed in collisions, compared with just 2 motorists. Those stats again, 35 to 2. And cyclists are more than 23 times more likely to be involved in a crash than motorists. 6,588 cyclists are injured per billion miles travelled compared to just 288 car users. That gap once again, 6,588 versus 286. Without balance, this Sky News report is fake news. It's suggesting that cycling on a public highway is actually a healthy thing to do. That's dangerous because it might actually encourage people to ride bikes on public roads, and that's the last thing we want to happen. Cycling propaganda is everywhere. Governments and health organisations are constantly touting the health benefits of cycling while they ignore the fact that more than 100 people are killed on push bikes in Britain every year and thousands are seriously injured. There isn't a single news organisation in this country that is anti-cycling. So the truth about riding bikes on the road is being censored. The only thing left for us to do is every time we see a cyclist on the road, we should wind down the window and shout at them. We should beg them to stop this dangerous behaviour. It's the only way we're going to save lives. Lives that could be saved if Sky News and the other media outlets actually told the truth.
Britain's tech-savvy iPhone generation, as they're being called, may know what a dongle is, may know how to use an iPhone and even create an app, but are clueless when it comes to changing a light bulb. According to a survey, under 35s lack basic DIY skills, so...
They can change a light bulb. Well, that's an exaggeration, isn't it? Surely
well,
they can change a light bulb.
I know somebody who got a man in to go and change a light bulb for them.
Was there somebody... female?
No.
Oh!
No, it was a bloke.
You see, I've gone on about this before. We are witnessing the end of the human race. Not only are more female babies being born than males, but the young males are not masculine. Every generation is more feminine than the next. Admit it, Chris, your dad was more masculine than you.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. He could build things out of bricks and breeze blocks.
My dad built a garage out of bricks,
Yeah.
and he was a plumber. So, and I bet his dad was more masculine than him. Because his dad fought in the First World War.
Yeah, well, my granddad fought in the Second World War and worked down a mine.
Yeah, so each generation of male is becoming more and more metrosexual. And we're starting to... And, you've got people like girly man David Beckham. He tried to get lots of tattoos to look hard, but he's still a girly man. And these metrosexuals... Women love them, but they don't realise, sometimes you need a bloke. In a time of crisis, somebody has to change that wheel. Somebody has to change that light bulb.
Somebody has to bleed a radiator. That's really satisfying, though.
Yeah, rewire a fuse, or these days even just reset a circuit breaker. That's beyond them. Finding the fuse box, beyond them. It all changed when men started calling shirts tops. It's not a top, it's a shirt. It's not a top, it's a jersey. It's not a top, it's a sweater or a pullover. It's never a top. Tops are girls' clothes. It's never a top, ever. It's a t-shirt, it's not a top.
Well, according to this research, 8 in 10 young women expect their partner to be a decent DIYer and be able to do these things.
Yes, ladies, look what you're doing by being attracted to these metrosexuals and breeding with them. You're creating even more metrosexuals. You need to seek out the real men who will be there for you in a time of crisis. And when you go into the bathroom, they haven't stolen your hair straighteners or your goop. Good morning, Chris. What can I do for you?
Just to agree with you about Cyclists.
Yes.
Also, I heard the guy that was interviewed in the report this morning.
On Sky,
saying, yeah, how much health he felt breathing all that fresh air. Well, surely if he's riding on the roads, he's breathing all the diesel fumes that are going past him.
I know, at the moment, the government are trying to ban diesel cars because they're saying it makes the air poisonous. How can the same news organisations then run a report that says sucking it all up while heavy breathing because you're riding a push bike in it is good for you? Make your mind up. It's one or the other. It can't be both.
That's right. He also said that he felt invigorated when he got to work. Well, surely he'd be all hot and sweaty and in need of a shower.
Yeah, who wants to sit next to him? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cyclists.
Especially if he's wearing lycra.
Oh, yeah. And it's always blokes who never... Well, nobody looks good in lycra anyway, let's face it. It's always people who shouldn't be wearing lycra. There is something wrong with them. People who get on push bikes and ride them on public roads have a mental illness.
I couldn't agree more.
Every day we hear how the NHS is at breaking point, it's in crisis. Yet people continue to get stuff on the NHS that isn't about life-saving. Like people get nicotine patches on the NHS. People get fertility treatment paid for by our tax money. And boob jobs. I mean... If your self-esteem is so low because your boobs aren't big enough, what's wrong with you having to pay for it? I've got no objection to you having a boob job, but why do I have to pay for it? Same deal with gastric bands. I don't get it. Leslie, tell me about your relative.
She was 37 stone.
Right.
And she had a gastric band fitted.
Right. On the NHS? Did we pay for it? Yeah.
And she also got permission to have the excess flesh removed.
Okay, right. And that was paid for by the NHS as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes. However, she lost, she went right down to 16 stone. She did so well.
Yeah.
And then they pulled the plug on the operation.
What do you mean they pulled the plug on the operation?
They said that she had to lose another 6 stone before they would operate.
Oh, to remove the excess skin?
Yes.
So they'd had the gastric band, but not the skin, right? Okay, yeah.
Yes, but then...
Well, actually, they didn't say she couldn't have it. They said they wouldn't pay for it. She could still have it if she paid for it herself.
Well, probably, yes, but she's not in a position to do that. And it makes her fall over.
The extra fat, right.
Yeah, it makes her fall over.
Well, then she should, when you say she's not in a position to do that, if that's the most important thing in her life, she must be spending money on something. Stop spending the money on whatever it is and save up and have the operation.
Well, yeah, there is that to it. But she can't work because her joints are all preventing her from bending and moving about naturally.
So what work does she do? Is she a scaffolder or something?
No.
Can she answer the telephone?
No.
Can she talk to you on the telephone? If you ring her up, can she talk to you?
Yes, she can.
So she can use the telephone?
Right,
I'm saying some people's work, some people's work is just using the telephone.
Yes, yeah, okay. So you put me to shame.
No. What I'm saying is, a lot of people.
I just feel so sorry for her because she works so hard.
Yeah.
And it's impossible for her to lose another 6 stone.
How's it impossible?
Well, because I think she's done enough and she's comfortable where she is. And surely when she gets on those scales, this skin and flesh...
she has a choice. She can carry on as she can carry on as she is, with a lifestyle as she is, and she can pay to have the surgery, or she can lose the weight and someone will pay for her to have the surgery. So she does have a choice.
Yeah, she does. All right then.
All right. Cheers, Leslie.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
This is Bob.
Well, the world is facing a crisis, Chris. You brought us
crisis.
Well, you brought us news that the modern male may know how to do stuff with a laptop, might know how to do stuff with a phone, might understand what a dongle is, but cannot change a light bulb in a time of crisis, cannot change a wheel or a fuse or do anything manly at all because of the rise of the girly man.
That's right. Yeah, they're saying things like changing light bulbs and bleeding radiators.
Bleeding radiators that are dying out. These are things that you need men for, and it's the women's fault. The women have been attracted to the girly man for years because he uses moisturiser. And they've been breeding with them and breeding more girly men. And eventually, ladies, you will have no men to help you out in a time of distress. There will be no more men. We'll all just become one homogenized generic sex. There'll be no difference between women and men. You need a difference.
You need your man to smell of man.
The smell of man. Be a man.
Smell of oil. Engine oil.
That's right. I know what Swarfiga is and how important it is.
Absolutely.
Know the difference between engine oil and gear oil. You know, these are important things. Joe's on the phone. Morning, Joe.
Good morning, Graham. I just wanted to let you know that the Heaney clan is doing its best to keep the testosterone male alive.
Yes.
My father was an Irish Guard and went to war in Ireland.
Yes.
I was a firefighter for 14 years.
Firefighter, yes.
Yes, get in there. My eldest son is a roofer. My youngest son is currently studying in an apprenticeship to be a joiner and working on a building site. And all of my 3 boys are rugby players.
Joe, by breeding proper men, you might just save the human race.
I can only give it my best shot, Graham.
I appreciate you being there, Joe. Thank you very much for checking in.
Cheers, bud. Have a good day.
Ta-da, bye.
Turn your knob to Bob.
I think I've worked out how to save the planet. We keep hearing about how fossil fuels are bad for the environment and how they're eventually going to run out anyway. So there's no future in that. As long as we generate electricity from renewable sources, the answer has to be electric cars. Now, I've been thinking about this lately. The new Mackmobile is a hybrid. It's petrol and electric. So I'm kind of halfway there. But I have been wondering about, why not go all the way? Why not go all electric? And so last night, I woke up in the middle of the night with the answer. Electric cars haven't caught on yet. And the reason most people give for not buying them is electric cars don't have the range. Well, range isn't really the issue. Some Tesla models can go for 300 miles on a single charge. The real problem is the time it takes to charge them up. It takes hours. If your battery goes flat and you're not at your final destination, you're knackered. If there's nowhere to charge it up when you get there, you can't get home. I can't get a fully electric car because I live in a block of flats with nowhere to charge it. I can't plug it in at work. And if there was somewhere to charge it between home and work, I'd have to add a few hours to my commute while I waited for it to charge up. The answer is pretty simple. Removable batteries. If you had an electric car with, let's say, 4 removable batteries, each one powerful enough to run the car's motor individually for, say, 100 miles. Have it set up so the car uses one battery until it's dead, and then it switches to the next one. When you stop at a charging station, all you have to do is take out the dead batteries and replace them with fully charged ones. That way, you'd be able to refuel an electric car in just a few minutes, probably quicker than you could fill up a petrol car. The dead batteries could then be charged at the charging station. And when they're fully charged, they'd be ready to be exchanged for dead ones from the next electric car driver. Stick a wind turbine and solar cells at the charging station, and the electricity to charge the batteries would be generated without harming the environment or taking resources from the national grid. So, electric cars are the future, but not until we make them so that you can take the batteries out. I'm Graham Mack, and I hope you're enjoying the podcast. If you are, make sure you share it on Facebook and Twitter, and you can subscribe at iTunes. Oh dear, lots to get hold of this morning, Chris. The war on the drinking straw. Now.
Absolutely, yeah. Now they're targeting restaurants. Restaurants say they're going to be cutting down on these straws.
I've never understood the point of the drinking straw. I mean, was tilting a glass that much work?
You have to pick the glass up and then tilt it into your mouth.
Yeah.
Using a straw is a lot more involved.
It seems to be, yeah.
Because very often when they go in the drink, they float up and you have to keep pushing it back down into the drink, and it's just a hassle.
I've only ever spilled one drink in public in my life. And that was a drink that had a straw in it. I reached across the table to get something else, a salt or something, I can't remember what, and because the straw was sticking out of the top of the thing, it knocked it over.
That's what happens.
Yeah, I'm with this. I'm with this campaign to reduce them.
100,000 straws a month is what just one chain's using.
I know, but once again, they're having to go at the straw itself, not the material it's made from. The problem is the plastic. Because remember, we used to have paper drinking straws. Where have they gone?
That's right. They were big in the 80s,
yeah.
I seem to remember. But interestingly, this chain, Oakman Inns, is saying that they won't be serving up straws voluntarily.
Yeah.
But if someone asks for them, they'll give them an environmentally friendly version.
They will. They'll give them... Because the paper straw was an interesting thing, because if you were a kid and you sucked on it too long, it got soggy and stopped working, and my dad would lean over and he'd rip the top off the straw so you could start again with a fresh bit there. Yeah, so that's interesting. And who was your spokesman from the NHS?
Oh, well,
Spokeslady.
This is somebody from the Campaign for Better Hospital Food.
Yeah, okay. Now, once again, another reason why you're fat, and it isn't you. I'm sorry, if you're fat, it's you. But we found out that it was, let's see if I can keep up here. It's because of advertising, because there isn't a tax on soft drinks, because of 2-for-1 deals, because of supermarkets, because your doctor's fat. was one of them. If you're fat, it's got nothing to do with you. Well, look, it has, okay? And now that you're fat because they sell fizzy drinks in hospital shops.
Yeah, they're blaming hospital shops
And
now.
she's saying what she wants is choice. What does she... Have you got the audio there?
Yeah, here we go. This is Catherine Button from the Campaign for Better Hospital
She
Food.
pushed my button, that's for sure.
We really believe patients should have choice, and that should be a choice that really promotes their health and well-being. At the moment, a choice of 5 different sorts of fizzy drinks, that's not really a choice. So we want patients to have the option of a real healthy beverage that means they can hydrate in a way that's healthy and promotes their well-being.
She's a liar. She's a liar. She's saying, well, if you want choice, then you actually should have the fizzy drinks there, the sugary drinks there, so you can choose one of those if you want one of those. That would be promoting choice, right? All of these shops sell water.
They do. All of them.
All of them. And some of them still and fizzy. In fact, there's all kinds of water. There's vitamin water, there's watered down cordial water, you know, that flavoured water, which is basically watered down cordial water.
Yeah.
They do have choice. She wants to take choice. She's dangerous. She wants to take choice away and claim she's giving you choice by doing that.
Well, they're targeting shops that have got outlets in hospitals, so the likes of W.H. Smith's, Subway and Greggs. I have never, ever been into a W.H. Smith where there hasn't been vast quantities of bottled water.
Bottled water?
Bottled water of all sizes.
Yes!
You can get little bottles of water, massive bottles of water.
No, she is a dangerous individual and a control freak, and she must be stopped.
It's Bob.
Let's get the latest news. Chris Hubbard.
Trending on Twitter this morning, Boaty McBoatface.
Is it back?
The Submarine has returned home.
Oh, no, you see, now it was the ship, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Arctic Surveyor or whatever the thing was. It was being built, and the competition to name it, Boaty McBoatface, and the weasels that ran the competition decided not to do what they said, which is we'll name the boat after the number one, which was Boaty McBoatface. So instead they named the Submarine after it, which is a real kind of like a parenty thing to do, isn't it? You know, I tell you, like Julie had this and she'll never forget it. She had 2 older brothers and an older sister. She's the youngest of 4. Star Wars comes out and they decide she's too young to see it. I don't know what age she was. All her older siblings went to see Star Wars. Her parents took her to the planetarium instead. And she's still not over that.
How disappointing.
Bob's Breakfast.